This is Dr. Cool AutoFix. Welcome back to another edition here today. I'm gonna be teaching you guys top 5 car AC problems and their solution. And this is technically gonna be one of those exclusive videos of car AC problem and the solution for your car. So let's get to it. Now, if you have a car AC problem that blows warm air, which is commonly the problem which most of you guys are actually going to be coming across when you have a AC compressor or when you have a car AC system that malfunctions. Now, there are some couple of things which you need to understand here. And the first thing first which you need to understand is you could be having a power problem. You could be having a no refrigerant problem. You could be having a relay problem. You could be having a blown fuse problem. Any of these is unwelcome when you are diagnosing a car AC that blows warm air. So you need to check out those. So first and first, start with checking the refrigerant level and make sure that the refrigerant level is as it's supposed to. Now, having a refrigerant inside the system is not enough. Sometimes when you have a refrigerant that is just too low, first of all, the refrigerant level is just above the capacity that can be able to start up the AC compressor, but it's below the capacity that's going to make the system to cool. This is one of the top secrets of car AC solving issues which I've dealt with over the past decades in different car make and model. When a customer comes to my garage and say that the AC is not blowing cold, so check those, and I'm certain that you could be finding the problem right there. And the other phase right there is that you could be having a wiring problem, either that the fuse is blown or the relay is not in good condition, or you could be having a bad pressure switch. Any of these can actually prevent the AC system power from power going into the compressor, or a bad blower motor resistor. And that is number one. Now, the number two common problem which you'll be having with your car is that the compressor is constantly clicking on and clicking off, clicking on and clicking off. In that situation, there are two things that can actually be the cause. The first one is that you could be having a overcharged AC system, which you flooded the system with excess refrigerant. And if the system is seriously flooded with too much refrigerant, then the compressor is going to be trying to balance the equation, thereby clicking on and clicking off, click on and click off. And this is most particularly with FDC. That's a fixed displacement compressor. The abbreviation is FDC. So if you have a fixed displacement compressor where you see the compressor clutch engage and disengage, engage and disengage, then you could be having overcharged refrigerant. You have too much excess refrigerant inside the system that is not allowing the system to perform very well. So in such situation, reducing it to the normal will get the system back. Then the other side where the system short cycle off and on is a safe measure. Either way is the actually safe measure. When you overcharge the system, when the compressor short cycle off and on and the system doesn't blow cold air or blow moderately cold air, then that is actually a typical indicative that the system is overcharged. And the second safety measure, a fail-safe measure, is actually to safeguard the passenger on board from freezing, which the manufacturer actually engineered your car to actually work in that respect, in that context. So in such situation, you need to increase the fan speed of your blower motor. Either that your blower motor fan speed is too low, maybe somewhere around 9 o'clock or below 9 o'clock. That's quarter what are the whole ton of the fan fan speed, or you have a clog pollen filter. So any of this can actually create a problem, because if you have a bad pollen filter, what it means is restrict the air that's going into the evaporator core, and therefore creating a poor airflow, and therefore the car AC compressor short cycle off and on. The third most common problem with car AC issue is that the AC system blows warm sometimes and blow cold sometimes. When your car AC system blows warm sometimes and blow cold sometimes, there are varieties of factors that can actually cause it. One is that you are having excessive refrigerant inside the system. Too much refrigerant inside the system is going to make the AC system to blow cold sometimes and warm sometimes. And you also, when you've checked that and there is no excess refrigerant inside the system, then the next thing which you need to check inside the system is to be sure that it is not the Toyota or Corolla or Lexus. If it is Toyota from 2011 model, which have a bad flow sensor, which is technically actually a scam name for it, because it's actually typically the Toyota engineer that the compressor is gonna fail. So over time, and it start throwing a B1479. So you quickly go ahead and replace the flow sensor, and boom, the problem is not solved. So you're going to be having the AC blowing cold sometimes and blow warm sometimes in that situation. So in that regard, you need to replace the compressor, and that problem is solved. Then the other regard again, where the AC system blow warm sometimes and blow cold sometimes, is when you're having a bad or clogged condenser or fan that is working inconsistently, or maybe there is a relay that supplies the fan control module power, and it fluctuates, it comes on and goes off. Any of this can actually create such kind of a problem, and so you need to check it just like I told you here. Now the fourth common problem which you're going to be experiencing in your car AC system is that the passenger, either the passenger side or the driver side, is not blowing cold air, while the passenger side, either the driver side is blowing colder and the passenger side is blowing colder. There are factors that can actually make this very problem, that can actually replicate this very problem. First, I want to say here that different car manufacturers have different configuration for their car. So a simple answer is not gonna fit the both sides. Like if I say, which is the first common problem there, is that the system is low on refrigerant. So if you check the refrigerant level in some car and you're seeing that they have a very good refrigerant, then you're gonna say, wow. Now, some cars might have, which is typically, this is what it is. When the passenger side is blowing colder than the driver side, that is a typical indicative that the system is low of refrigerant. But that is not applicable in all cases, because if you come across Range Rover, it is going to be the reverse. The passenger side is going to be blowing warmer and the driver side is going to be blowing colder. So which means when you're charging up the system, the driver side, which is the left side, especially American spec, is gonna start getting colder, and it graduates to the middle, then to the passenger side. So they prioritize the driver side. Why they prioritizing the passenger side? Why in some of the American models that are not Range Rover, they prioritize the passenger side, and the priority is where the cold air start calling from, and to the less prioritized side, which is the driver's side, where the system doesn't blow colder. So you need to check those then. In some other cars like Camry, which I've seen, you could be having a defective expansion valve that is not supplying a sufficient liquid refrigerant into the system. And when that happens, you're going to be getting some part of it to be colder and the other side not colder. Even if you try to flood the system with refrigerant, you're not going to be getting the system to be blowing colder at all level. So you need to check those. Check the TXV, replace it, and you should be on your way resolving that problem. Then next one again is a compressor that is not in a good condition. Now, these are factors which you need to understand when you're dealing with car AC system that blows cold air sometimes on one side and blow warm on the other side and cold on the other side. Now, the fifth, which is the last one I'm going to be using to cap this up, is the car AC system blow colder while in motion. There are other common problems, all right? But I want to keep it at this very 5, so I don't want to waste your time. Some other time I'm gonna be making it like 10, right? So you want to tune in. Uh, you want to tune in. If you are interested in those, then subsequently I'm also gonna be teaching you how to swap refrigerant between cars. If you are trying on recovering a refrigerant, a lot of you guys who are into fixing different car make and model and who doesn't have a refrigerant recovery machine actually gonna be interested in understanding how to swap a refrigerant between cars. Now let's get back to it. The fifth common problem of car AC system which you're actually going to be coming across, whether you're a newbie or a professional who has been into the system for quite a long time, or a DIY car enthusiast, is that the AC system blows colder while in motion and blow less cold while at idle. Or when you have your foot at the gas pedal, the AC system tends to blow colder when you have your foot on the gas pedal. When the RPM is slightly higher than 1000 RPMs, then the system is blowing colder. So in such situation, if you are stuck in a situation where your car AC system is blowing colder when you're at a higher RPMs, then that is an indicative that, one, you could be dealing with a bad fan. The radiator fan is actually in charge of promoting or optimizing the cooling efficiency by increasing the condensation of the refrigerant that goes into the converting the hot molecules of gaseous refrigerant into liquid, and that is the process which is called the condensation. That's converting the hot gaseous refrigerant into liquid. So, and when the radiator fan is not in very good condition, maybe due to a bad control module, or due to bad relay, or due to bad radiator fan itself, you're actually going to be noticing some sort of a sensible the system only blows when you are at a higher speed. So there is a chunk of air that actually goes into the condenser and compensate for that inefficiency of the radiator fan. And when you come to a stoplight, then that chunk of air ceases. Now, the other factor you also need to consider there is a bad AC compressor. Most of the compressors are not designed to last forever, guys. So most of these compressors, when you start having a lot of mileage, let's say 100,000 or even from 100,000 miles or 150 and above. Now, these compressors are typically like your car engine. Your car engine is an air compressor, while your AC compressor is a refrigerant compressor. They are both compressor in different dimension, right? Now, when your compressor piston walls and cylinder started having some sort of a clearance, all right, they are no more tight as they're supposed to, there is a loss of compression there, then that is what typically creates that scenario where your car only blows colder when you are stepping on the gas pedal, or when you are driving faster, right? When you're higher RPMs, then the car gets colder. And when you're at a stoplight or your car is idling, then the car reduces its cooling and start blowing warm air. So simple replacement of the compressor is actually going to solve this problem. And it is very, very imperative that when you're replacing the compressor, you also take into account the metering device, which is the expansion valve. For any time which the compressor have worn out due to those kind without any interference, mechanical interference, but the internal structure just wear out naturally by how you use the car, then you also need to understand that the metering device is also due for replacement, because that is what ensures how cool, how better performance which the system is going to actually be. So in the next episode, I'm going to be treating more other common problem with your car AC system, because there is a whole lot, right? I'm going to make 10 more common problems. So if you're interested, tune in. I remain Dr. Cool. I'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.